Yo, and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Brian. Today I'm going to be cooking up a little taste of home. It's a classic Liverpudlian dish that we call Scouse. But before that, we're going to be making some beetroot, pickled beetroot. I know it's not everyone's favourite, but I love a little bit of tangy action with my Scouse. Let's get ready to start cooking. So let's get started with pickling that beetroot. I know some people prefer pickled cabbage, and actually when we used to make Scouse in the goat for the Abu Dhabi Reds, which is the official Liverpool supporters club here in Abu Dhabi, our chefs used to use pickled cabbage, but at home I always had it with beetroot. You can buy it in jars off the shelf and that's fine, but today we're going to pickle it ourselves. We're going to jump right into the ingredients. It's very simple, there's not many ingredients involved. Obviously you're going to need your beetroot. Now, before we get to cleaning these, we are going to be using 3 or 4 beetroots. They're all different sizes, so cooking time is going to vary. We've got a tablespoon of salt. We are using 1.5 cups of water, and we're going to use an equal measure of apple cider vinegar. Now, we bought this vinegar yesterday. It's called Farm Fresh. We got it from the co-op. It's about 8 dirhams, which I don't know, is about £1.50 in the UK. That's what we're going to be using. Now, as I said, you can buy your pickled beetroots or pickled cabbage off the shelf, but we're going to be making it, so we've given them a good wash. Now we're just going to chop off the heads. So let's boil up some water. So it's been about 30-40 minutes and I've been checking on these beetroots and they are feeling nice and tender, and I'd say they're about ready to come off. We're going to take them out and we're going to drop them straight in. So we're just going to let them cool down and ready to cut. So we're going to drain this beetroot juice. While our beetroots are cooling down, we're just going to prepare our pickling juice. So basically, I'm going to use 1.5 cups of water and also 1.5 cups, it's an equal measure of apple cider vinegar. So one of the ingredients I didn't mention was brown sugar. So we're going to use 100 grams. You can use any sugar, it can be white sugar. We're just going to use brown sugar. So we've got 100 grams of brown sugar. We're going to bring this to the boil and let it all dissolve. This is going to be our pickling juice. We're going to add our tablespoon of salt. We're going to give it a little stir and wait for that to boil. In the meantime, our beetroot should be cooled down. We're going to chop it up and put it in the pickling jars. Okay, so our beetroots have cooled down, easy enough to handle. I'm going to dice mine. Now, I'm familiar with sliced beetroot with my Scouse, but I'm going to dice these because I'm not going to use it all today. And the parts that I don't use, I can use for like feta salads and beetroot feta salad. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chop them up. Once you start chopping that up, I've got a sealable container here. It's a glass base with a plastic top. We can start putting that in. I need to because I need to start making a little bit of space. Vinegar, pickling sauce is all boiled. So what we want to do now is now we're just going to put a lid on it and let it cool down. But ideally, you want to leave this in the fridge for about 24 hours. They say you can keep it up to a month. So we'll just pop the lids on them. We'll put them in the fridge. So now we're just going to jump straight into the Scouse. Now, I'm not here to settle any debates about what meats or veg get used in scouse. I've put a little tweak on my nan's recipe. My nan made the best scouse, so we're going to stick with that. For the meat, we're going to use some stewing beef. I've heard some people like to use lamb. I can't remember if I ever had lamb growing up in my scouse, but we're going to stick with beef. My dad's always said scouse is used from whatever you have in the cupboards. Every family recipe is slightly different. Also, if you're a vegetarian, you can use it without meat, and that's called blind scouse. We've got 750 grams of beef. We've got 1 large onion. We're going to use 3 garlic cloves. I don't know if my nan ever used that when we were a kid, but we're going to use that. Tablespoon of red sauce, HB, tablespoon of brown sauce, a couple of drops of Liam Perrins to taste. We're going to use 5 large potatoes, well, medium-sized potatoes, 5 or 6 maybe. We've got a turnip and we've got 4 carrots. We've already peeled our carrots, so I'm just going to dice them into like inch sizes. Now for the potatoes, I'm going to cut them into 2 sizes. I'm going to cut big chunks because I like that chunky potato, and I'm also going to dice them into small pieces, which is going to dissolve and thicken up that scouse sauce. These little chunks are just going to break down quicker. And then for the bigger chunks, I'm going to go into like quarter size. Now for the turnip, also known as neeps if you live in Scotland, and you can use a swede too. A turnip and a swede are quite similar in appearance and taste, but there are a few differences, mainly size. So back in 1620, a Swiss botanist called Casper crossed a turnip with a cabbage and called it a swede. Basically, that's the difference. We're also just going to dice our onion too, because we're just going to fry that off with the meat when we get to that, just to help develop those flavors a little bit. So we've chopped up our onion. Our vegetables are sitting there just waiting to go in, but first we're just going to brown off the meat. Now some people say brown your meat, it locks in all the flavour, all the juices. I'm going to do it anyway because people say to do it, but everything's going to be locked in the pot anyway, all those flavours and juices. So whether it's necessary, I don't know, but we're going to do it anyway. So our pan's quite hot. We're going to add in a little bit of oil. Just brown off the meat a little bit. Now while that's browning off, I'm just going to prepare 3 cloves of garlic. As I said, there is a bit of a tweak on this. I don't think my nan ever used garlic or Worcestershire sauce for that matter, but we are. You just want to keep checking your meat and checking it's doing okay and it's cooking off nicely and it's browning up, and this is. We're going to leave all those juices in the pan because that is going to help with the flavour a bit later on. So we'll just give it a couple more minutes and then we'll just throw the onion straight in. Let that develop some flavour. We'll add the garlic. Okay, so the meat's all browned off, and now we're going to add in the onion. Just going to leave that for a few minutes and let those flavours develop from the onion before we add in the garlic. There's an interesting fact that some people say, and I'm not a historian so I couldn't tell you if it was true, but Scouse originated from was a Scandinavian dish from Norway, Apparently it came in by the sailors when they used to come into dock in the port of Liverpool, and it was called Scouse, and since then it's changed and we've added our own variation to it and it's just called Scouse. Again, I'm not a historian, but it sounds quite true. So now we're just going to go straight in with all our vegetables. We've added all our vegetables and we're going to use 3 stock cubes for this. And we're using a beef stock, OXO beef stock. I know some people use Bisto or some people use stock juice. And again, if you're a vegetarian and you're making blind scouse, you can get OXO cubes that don't contain meat. You want to be more or less filling it up to just above the vegetables. Now we're going to add our Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire sauce. A tablespoon, bit of brown sauce, Heinz tomato ketchup. Now, again, I said there was a tweak on my nan's recipe and she made the best scouse in Liverpool. My tweak is adding ketchup, adding HP sauce, adding Worcestershire sauce, probably garlic. She probably didn't use garlic, but I found I like those flavors. So experiment, give it a try yourself. So we've got everything inside the pot now, and we're just going to leave it. You can do this in slow cooker at home. You can do it in, there's a lot of different ways, pressure cooker, slow cooker, whatever. We're just putting it in the pot. We're going to leave it to bring it to the boil, and then we're just going to leave it to simmer for a couple of hours. We're going to keep coming back to it, checking on it, see how it tastes. Hopefully those potatoes, the smaller bits have all broken down and the chunkier bits are still there. But basically, that's it. See you in a minute. So it's been about 3 hours and I've been checking on the scouse and my belly has been rumbling. It looks absolutely delicious. So we're going to serve some up. It looks absolutely fantastic. So we got the beetroot. This is the one we made yesterday. We've got some crusty buttered bread, and now we're just going to eat it and enjoy. Hope you've enjoyed it too. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen today. As I say, it's got dark now. I've thoroughly enjoyed it and I'm still enjoying it now. Basically, scouse is made up of potatoes, carrots and onion and meat. Everyone in Liverpool's got their own twist on it. This is mine. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to share, subscribe, like and hit the notification bell if you're enjoying watching this, and hopefully see you soon.